Hi everyone. For today's video, we are going to learn about solving quadratic equation using quadratic formula. So let's just recap a little bit on the general form of quadratic equation. When we solve any quadratic equation, it must be in this form: ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. And these are a, b, c, they are numbers. So previously we have learned how to solve using factorization. So let's just look at this example again. To solve this, we factorize it into two brackets and then we equate the brackets to 0, then we will get the answers. But not all quadratic equations can be factorized. For example, like this cannot be factorized no matter how we do it. So for examples like this, we will use quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is this, whereby it looks a little bit complicated, but no worries. The ABC from this formula is from this general form, whereby A is in front of x squared, the coefficient, and B is the coefficient of x, and C is the constant. And lastly, this part must be 0. And just look at this formula one more time. This has a plus minus sign because there will be two answers later on for most cases. Right, so let's try and do some questions on identifying the coefficient of A, B, and C. This practice is important for us to do this, use this formula. Just be careful with question 4 and 5 because one term is missing. So whenever a term is missing, that means it is 0. So you may pause the video for a while to try this. Alright, please check your answers. Please be careful with the negative sign. For example, question 2, the C is negative 5. For question 3, the B is negative 12. The negative always follows the number after it. And for question 4, the C is 0 because the third term is missing. And for question 5, the second term is missing, so the B is 0. So let's try and solve some of these equations. Question 4 and 5, they can actually solve without using the quadratic formula, which we have done it previously. So we are going to try question 1, 2, 3. Alright, now let's solve these three equations. You just need to substitute the values of A, B, and C into the formula. And be reminded there will be two answers, plus and minus. And you need to round your answers to do decimal place. So please pause the video for a while and do the questions. Alright, please check your answers. Let's discuss question 3. For question 3, the value of A is 9, B is negative 12, C is positive 2. And we just need to substitute into this formula. And we need to simplify this part by part. The first part here, negative is positive, so positive 12. The square root, it will be 72, and the denominator is 18. And the next part, we need to split the answers into plus and minus. So from here, you can just press a calculator and get the answers. Alright, so just a conclusion. Whenever we solve quadratic equation, so far we have learned two methods. One is factorization. If the equation can be factorized, we will usually solve using factorization. If it can't be factorized, we need to use the quadratic formula. And to solve using quadratic formula, you just need to identify the coefficient of x squared, x, and the last term. And you can actually check your answers using the calculator by keying in the value of A, B, and C as well. Alright, so that's all for today's lesson.